grab your big book, your pen, your highlighter, and notepad and get ready to hear and apply some of the solution from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous through the experience, strength, and hope of Nikki M. To have a question addressed in a future episode of Noodle It Out with Nikki, please send an email to noodlewithnikki@gmail.com, and Nikki is spelled with 2 Ks. To get a more interactive experience with Nikki as she noodles out life and recovery questions using the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, you can get a link to her weekly Noodle It Out with Nikki meeting held live on Zoom every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The information to that meeting is in the show notes of this podcast. God morning, God afternoon, and God evening to all. My name is Justin B., and I am a son of an all-powerful and perfectly loving God and a qualifying addict of multiple fellowships, living in the miracle of recovery one day at a time. And I'm here with the intelligent agent, spearhead of God's ever-advancing creation, and my co-host, Nikki M. Nikki, please say hi, introduce yourself.
Okay, I muted myself. I'm getting all weird. Hi, everybody. I'm Nikki M, and I'm just so grateful to be at this table. I'm a little wonky today. We had a big noodle meeting where we come out live every Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we get right into this book and we talk about solution. And it just went a little AWOL. Someone called me. I got knocked off the meeting, and it's just been one of those mornings that is just filled with, in a matter of 5 seconds, Justin, you're like up and down and in and out. And then you're like, who am I? So according to my book, I'm an intelligent agent spearhead. I'm a child of God, and I'm really grateful to be here.
Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, and I feel a little bit off kilter this morning too, and it's good to get into the book, good to get into recovery, good to connect with God as we walk this path, as we trudge this road of happy destiny, as it says. So everybody out there, Noodle It Out with Nikki is a service that Rico 12 sponsors, in which we bring questions that you may have, that others have, to the big book. And Nikki goes through the big book, noodles it out, and shares her experience, strength, and hope, as well as the writings and the wisdom in the big book to those questions. These questions may come from the Noodle WhatsApp group, the Noodle meetings that are held each Monday that she referenced. We receive emails. I've gotten several emails over the last few weeks from people, noodlewithnikki@gmail.com. That's Nikki with 2 Ks. And we're getting these questions in, and we're happy to address them. In fact, today's question we will address came in this last month in mid-June from somebody who wanted to remain anonymous. But this question is one that I think is pretty darn good. So Nikki, here's the question we're going to be doing today. But everybody out there, grab your big book, get ready to go through it like a madman, madwoman, whatever you may be, to learn what the solution is to this. Here's the question. Will there be a day in my recovery when I will be able to interact normally with the person I am addicted to? So what does the book say, Nikki?
Well, the book says a lot about it, and I always go to the passages I know and love because they're a working part of my mind. Now, other passages in here say it, and I know there's lots in the doctor's opinion that talk about the mental state and the disease of alcoholism. It's like once you're an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic, right? Like it's not safe for, let's just say, an alcoholic to think after 20 years of being sober that they're going to be able to go out and have a safe, nice, I don't know, scotch on the ice again, rocks, right? Some type of margarita. No, that's a lie from the pit of hell. Is it ever safe for Justin and I to look at another human being other than as a child of God? No, it's not. That will send us into a spiral that we will maybe never come back from if we're not careful, if we were to act out in those kind of matters. And same with any of the drugs or any of the gambling. My gamblers, you think you can just pick up a lottery ticket and start again? But what does the book say about, again, one more time, Justin, as I went off about the question exactly?
Will there be a day in recovery when I will be able to interact normally with the person I am addicted to?
Well, here's the bottom line, simple answer. Yes. If you turn to page 100, okay? 100. The very bottom sentence says, yes. It doesn't say yes, but I'm going to put it in there. And the very bottom paragraph says, assuming. See, there's a caveat. So it's assuming that you are spiritually fit. I put my name there, Nikki. Excuse me, I can do all sorts of things like interact with the person I'm obsessed with. Now, I'll give you some experience, strength, and hope right off the bat. I was going to kill myself and my lover. We worked together. He had been married for a couple decade, okay, way over a decade, almost 2. And we started having an affair because that's my drug of choice, okay? Innocent married men who don't know that Nikki's going to come and prey on them, okay? Because I get real weird in my disease. It wasn't always like that. But remember, our behavior patterns vary, and then you put down one drug and you pick up another. So I'll put down one type of thing and I'll start acting out in a different way. So anyway, I work with this person. We're in a union. Neither of us could leave. And at the point where I was, when they say in a blackout, when they say I was in the quicksand, as Bill talks about in his story on page 8, let me turn there real quick, because he describes it so beautifully, where no words can tell of the loneliness and despair I found in that bitter morass of self-pity. Quicksand stretched around me in all directions. I had met my match. I had been overwhelmed. Humans. And this particular human, and I will leave him anonymous the same way we're leaving you anonymous, friend. This person was my master. This person, Justin, was my master. I could not eat, breathe, walk, talk, move, function without this person being at the forefront of every thought my children did. Nothing mattered. Nothing mattered. Same way for you alcoholics, drug addicts, food addicts. Nothing mattered but this one. And it goes deep when you get to my point in the addiction, everybody, where you cannot get under someone to get over someone. It's not another replaceable human. It's only that human. And if you know humans, they're not, you can't clone them. I know they secretly do it in some weird lab around the world, and I don't know where it is, Justin, but they don't clone humans. So I can only get that one person. When your disease gets crazy like that, I know the obsession. It's crazy. And I had to go back to work, Justin, after 4 months. So what did I do? I had to go on medical leave because I was going to kill myself. And by the grace of God, I live in a socialized country where we did get, I get money to stay off work so I didn't lose my home. Otherwise, I would have lost my home in the disease of addiction because I had no money. I was out of my mind. So I had to have that separation, that detox. That's what they talk about. Let me find it here in the doctor's opinion when they tell us we favor hospitalization. That's page XXVII, where it says we favor hospitalization for the addict who is very jittery, befogged. It's imperative that their brain be cleared, meaning the obsession be cleared. It took me 4 months before the obsession of my mind was cleared so I could even go to work. Now, it only took me a week to get the brain cleared so my sponsor could approach me so I would have a better chance of understanding and accepting what was offered to me, which was the spiritual kit, the 12 steps. So again, we'll go back to page 100. So assuming you're spiritually fit, you can see your obsession, whatever it is. Again, I know people who can go into casinos and they don't gamble. I know people who go to bars and bartenders who are alcoholics and can serve alcohol and don't want to drink. I know from my personal experience, I went to work with this man who, in fact, had another person. I mean, it was a nightmare. It was so twisted because in the resentment prayer, I'm kind of all over the place, Justin, like my mind this morning, and I'll bring you in and then I'll finish reading page 100 and 102. But in the resentment prayer, See, I had my friend so I could go back to work, and he had to read this every day over me for not just 2 weeks. He did it for a month, and then he did it for another month. These are the kind of friends that you find in fellowship. It says on page 552, if you have a resentment or an obsession, put over there, everybody, write obsession, you want to be free of. If you will pray for the person or that obsession or that thing that you resent or you obsess, you will be free. See, if you will ask in prayer for everything you want for yourself to be given to them. And my friend, and I like to call him Crackhead Carl, he would pray that this person would meet someone and love them the way I wanted to be loved by him. And he would pray that this person would have everything that I wanted with him that he would experience with another person. I mean, it was so painful, Justin, to hear these prayers for this man that I wanted a life with, that I was supposed to be with, to have those wishes for him with somebody else was death of my ego, soul, and spirit. Here it was page 14. It was destruction of self. So I could, page 63, be reborn and be spiritually fit. And so after 4 months of this exercise through the big book, of being separated, of saying these prayers, of working a 12-step program, of page 70, if sex is troublesome, throwing myself harder into helping other people. Man, I walked into my workplace, Justin, tall. I did not shrink. Come in and then I can get back into page 101 there.
Yeah. So my thought on this, and thank you for sharing that, Nikki. Very good and powerful experience, strength, and hope. You know, with the question, there's something in there that really rings out to me. And it says, when will I be able to interact normally with the person I'm addicted to? Well, if I look back at this and those people that I was, addicted to, those people that I was, going out and doing, thinking about stupid stuff, doing stupid stuff with, whatever, I never had a normal relationship with them in the first place. They were an object. They were something to be manipulated to get what I wanted out of them. So what does a normal relationship look like? For me, that might be just treating them like a human rather than as an object. But I have to be in very fit spiritual condition in order to be able to have that happen. If normal relationship, interact normally with the person means, every once in a while get in bed with them, that's not normal. That's not a normal relationship. That's not a normal interaction with that person. So anyways, that's just a thought that I have on that. Nikki, if you want to jump back into 100 101 or give some additional feedback on what I shared there, that'd be amazing.
Well, our addict life is our only normal one, says the book. So you're right. So that's normal. But when you get recovered, you won't want probably to talk to that person again, because we don't know normal relationships, because again, our addict life is our only normal one. I do want to go to page 101, but before that, you reread the question and I heard something else, Justin. When will I be able to? You hear that? When will I be able to? You don't want God. You want to talk to your obsession. So let's get honest here, person who called in. You don't want this program. You want to be recovered enough to see your obsession. You want to be recovered enough to have just one drink at the bar and walk away. You want to be recovered enough to just have one look at the porn for 1 hour and then think you'll never touch it again. You want to be recovered enough to have that whole piece of pie and cake at your son's birthday, or the grandson's. Let's do the grandson, because I love your grandson, right? Like, go deep here, people. So let's go deep. You haven't even made a step 3 decision. You don't even want this program. Whoa, Nikki, that's hard. No, it's not. because you said, when will I be able to? So you care about what you will be able to do. You don't care about serving God. That's facts. And I'm a soul surgeon and I can read between the lines, because let's go deep here. Page 12. Let's go back to Bill's story. See, it says here, thus was I convinced that God, what's God, everybody? Nikki, don't talk to me about God. I'm an atheist, says my cousin who came over yesterday. And I get weird about God, but I'm like, cousin, can you just be open-minded? And if I said to you, will you accept my conception of God? And I'm going to give it to you right now, Miss. She did say she was an atheist. She was really proud to say it. I'm an atheist. I don't want to hear the word God. Okay, cousin, we're not. If I say to you, God, and this is my conception, humility, being polite, being content, having lots of gratitude, being unselfish, helping others, wanting nothing in return, getting radically honest, being very accepting and tolerant, generous, getting intimate, being very intimate, forgiving. I mean, radical forgiveness. I don't mean letting people abuse you. I mean, standing tall and walking away knowing it's not helpful, but I mean, forgiving those unforgivable things, having courage, being patient, being responsible, and being kind and praising the good in others. So if I said that to you and I read this sentence like this, are you convinced that those things, the spiritual principles, will be concerned with you, with us humans, when we want him, God, her, the frequency, the vibration of love, the spiritual principles enough? See, she doesn't want program, the spiritual principles. She doesn't want God enough. She wants to be able to see her obsession. See, when you stay here long enough, people listening in the back to this podcast, when it comes out, you become very intelligent, because they blocked us with all this other crap. So go deeper. God gave us brains to use. You can use your discernment to hear the lies. And what I heard is a person messaging in who doesn't really want to get better. They want their obsession. They want to be able to get in a position of neutrality where they can, what? Dip their foot in the water more? Justin, come in.
Yeah, and absolutely. If whether the question is recovery, when let's see, if I will ever be able to see that person again, or will I, not if I will I, but whatever. Whether the question is that, I think the caveat is what you mentioned earlier. Fit spiritual condition, and God is going to be the one that determines if I'm in fit spiritual condition. I can't make that decision myself. I need to have God. I need to have a sponsor. I need to have people around me that say, hey, well, if you cross paths with this person, quote unquote coincidentally, you aren't manufacturing it, manipulating it, going proactively to them, you can interact on healthily with them if you are in fit spiritual condition. But if I'm in that place where, when will I be able to interact with them normally? It's very likely I'm going to try and manipulate that, and make it happen in not a natural way, not a spiritually healthy way. So that's my take on that. Any final words before we roll out of here?
Yeah, because here it is. Let's go to page 101, Justin, because this is the key word that you just led me to. 1, 2, third paragraph down, and I know you see it. It says scheme. See, that's what the word is, scheme. It says, in our belief. See, this is about a belief system. You don't have a new belief system. Your old belief system is still at play here, because you're trying to scheme. You're trying to find a way to be able to do what you know you should not be doing. That's the reality. And I don't like that word should. I hesitate to say that, because we don't know what we should be doing. Only God knows. But the question I don't think is an honest question, to be honest. I don't think it's like, Nikki, how do I get better and live for God is the more important question here. Not how do I get better so I can be and scheme and have some little plans and designs, page 63, my plans and designs. See, let's read this and let me try and break it down. In our belief, any scheme of combating addiction, alcoholism, which proposes to shield or, like manipulate, I think you said the word manipulate the person, that's me, Nikki, the sick person, from temptation is doomed to failure. There it is. You're doomed to failure if your main purpose is, when will I be able to do anything? Justin, when will I get the lottery? Justin, when will my court case with the neighbors work out? Justin, when will Mr. Luxembourg marry me? Justin, when will you see? That's not what this is about. The question is, when will I find my first sponsee? When will I find the fellowship I crave? When will I find that power deep down inside of me? See, this is the question. How do I find this power that's been hidden deep down inside every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God, says page 55. So this is what this is all about, Justin. And I think we needed this reminder because I came in here squirrely. You said you had a little bit of like we were all kind of weird. And now we're back to the core of what our purpose is. Our purpose is to serve God and God's people, page 77. Everybody turn there, page 77. That's your purpose. Your purpose isn't, when will I be able to? No. My purpose is, when will I be able to serve God and God's people, wanting nothing in return? Soldier?
This is good stuff, Nikki. As we dove into that and went into that question from a couple different angles, we found that the answer is there in the big book. The answer is there in our experience, strength, and hope as we strive to practice these principles in all our affairs. And my final wrap up with this is, there is one who has all power. That one is God. And when I am connected with that power, I can do all sorts of things that other alcoholics, other addicts can't do, including cross paths with the person that I'm addicted to in a healthy manner and be of service to that person if that's what God is leading me to do. If I have what's it say on the bottom of page 101? If there's what's it say? Let me get there. If I have a good social, business, or personal reason for going there, for being there, then it will all work out just fine. But if I'm manipulating it, it's trouble for me, for them, and for everybody else. Everybody, dive into this work. Connect with God. Connect with that higher power, the good, the love, the honesty, whatever it may be. And keep trudging this road of happy destiny with us. Work it. You are worth it.